Hello to all my friends out there. Hi, you guys. Here we are again, another day in Southern California in the East County of El Cajon. So, yesterday I was shopping a lot. Today I might shop a little bit, not that much. I have something to tell you. If you download the Webull app, you get 2 free stocks up to $1,850. Just do a Google search. They want you to buy $100 worth of stock within, I think it's about a month. So I was thinking, what might be a good idea is to create a little budget just for buying a little stock off these apps. You can invest in companies that you otherwise couldn't afford. You could just buy, I don't know, maybe $100 a month, maybe I'm supposed to get 5 free stocks from Robinhood, but I'm thinking maybe I'm supposed to buy $100 worth of stock. I'm not sure. I didn't investigate this very well, but what I did was I used my $5 free stock to invest $5 in Kroger. So I'm thinking maybe 3 Kroger stocks a month. Last year, I think it was last year, I did pretty well. I invested in silver coins. I bought silver coins, 1 or 2 a month for a while when they were cheap, $19 per coin. And then I bought Uber stock, when Uber was cheap. So I'm going to look around. Maybe it's going to be Kroger. Maybe it's going to be something else. I don't know. I will tell you when I figure that out. Maybe it's going to be some kind of 5G technology. And just invest a little stock. It's a good way to save your money, and it can grow. You can lose it all. So I got to yesterday when I was shopping a lot, I was pretty freaked out by this Texas thing when they didn't have any water. But I discovered Arrowhead has the jugs. They're about this big and they have a handle on top. They're about $4 and you can refill those. So I think that's the way I'm going to go. The people in Texas were saying that, some people in Texas were saying they used, I think the water was a problem for a week. They use about 30 gallons of water plus water they boiled. So I want to make sure I have water. Okay, so I mentioned to you guys that somewhere I read or I heard that people in prison, when they were given a better diet, their health, their incidence of being sick was reduced by 80%. They were given a little bit better diet, and which is a bad thought. They weren't given good food in the first place, but and a vitamin. So that's why yesterday I bought the vitamins. And I couldn't find the vitamins I used to find for $1. So I'm looking around and I'll buy a couple dollar. I'm not real picky. I take a lot of vitamins, but I don't take expensive vitamins. So one of the things I will be doing today is I was thinking, because I don't eat that much fruit, I have stockpiled canned fruit because they say just by my experience, people I was trying to help, they run out of fruit, vegetables, and bread. So I stockpiled various cans of fruit, mainly with canned fruit. I just put that on cottage cheese. But I was thinking, last week I bought an assortment of fruit, and I did eat more fresh fruit because I bought the fresh fruit, and I thought, just buy 7 fruits, 1 per day, a different one every day, so you get a varied diet. And then fresh vegetables, same thing, just buy an assortment of fresh vegetables, not too much so it doesn't waste. And then, you have to eat it. Generally, I just buy bags of lettuce and tomatoes and cucumbers, and there's your vegetables. Okay, so what I'm going to be buying today when I'm out shopping anyway, the main thing I have to do in a day is walk 2 hours a day or stay active. If I work doing the thrift store shopping, I'm walking around, so I'm active. But lately, I have shopped in the thrift stores, but I can't find anything. And so today I'm going to be buying chips and dip, a variety of chips, all different kinds, probably the ones in the tubes, instant potatoes, small canned foods. I found for eating in my car, those small cans about this big I bought beans and weenies. I bought corned beef hash. It's about an 8-ounce can. You open it, you eat it, that's it. So that works for the car or for lunch. And I'll be buying some soap today. Okay, and then something occurred to me, when I did that, the last video of when I was young. So by the time I was about 32, I had developed a pretty bad case of alcoholism. Well, a bad case, bad enough I had to go to self-help. So I'm thinking about these people living on the streets. Strongly possible that some of them may have to seek help for substance abuse. And the thing is, the bad thing about substance abuse is you get the alcoholic mentality. And that is the hard thing to undo. You don't realize that you have this mentality. And I was thinking about the people living on the streets. It's going to take a while to come out of that. And so when I was younger, by going to this self-help group, I had a lot of support for all the stuff I was going through. And I got through it pretty well because I had this support. So I'm thinking these people living on the streets are going to need some strong support to come out of this. It's like probably going to create post-trauma. I think a lot of the problems are post-trauma that you see. Oh, I guess he's going to stop honking. It's hot here. So this living on the street stuff is going to create a lot of problems. In the future in our society, like alcoholism and drug abuse. And then I wanted to talk to you guys about losing everything. Okay, in my life, I would work in salons and I would work around all kinds of various people. Well, that's one thing I liked about college and salons is you would meet tons of different kinds of people. So I met this lady, and she was a nice looking lady, but she was one of these ladies who kind of had her act together, kind of. And so what she would do is she would meet men from overseas, and she ended up, which I would think would be terrifying, not her, she was not terrified. So her husband came over to get her, or he was nearby, and he came in, and what I saw was a very refined looking guy. he was, I'm not sure where he was from. I think it was maybe like Dubai or someplace like that. And through some circumstances, he had lost everything. And, he was penniless, And so I would find out everything, doing the hair. And so they had met up, and it was supposedly a love connection, which I had my doubts about that, because if you can get to America, she was pretty lovable now that I think. But this is a refined guy. So what I was going to say is, if you lose everything, God forbid, within time, you're going to reestablish your life. That's just the way it goes. Even though this guy was supposedly penniless, you could tell at one time he had been very refined and well off. But you can lose everything. So that's something to bear in mind. I mean, you could lose all your money or wealth usually within a short time. They're right back to where they were. And also, this is why I like going to college. One time I was taking this chemistry class. It was like a beginning chemistry class, and after about one or two classes, I go, oh no, that's that little nerd I went to high school with. That was my teacher. And so I thought, oh gosh. And so I decided I would just pretend like I didn't know who he was, because I wanted to take this class and get it over with. And so it was going okay. He's the one who knocked me off a letter grade, because there was this deal. If you got your questions wrong, then if you redid them, you could get credit. So what I did is I just turned in my empty homework, and then I redid it at my leisure, and he had been writing it on green notes, but I didn't read them. I was busy. I had all these jobs. And so finally he got mad, and he knocked me down a letter grade. I go, what is this? He goes, I warned you. I go, like when? He goes, well, like on those green notes. I go, listen, what is the difference if I did the question wrong and redid it, or if I didn't do it, I just redid it? Well, anyway, so I go, well, you have some nerve. Everybody in my row is cheating. That doesn't bother you. Like just being a hater, getting everybody in trouble. So then he staggered the tests, and they all cheated, and they got caught. And I thought, well, I think I got in more trouble than they did. But still, and so finally he couldn't stand. He goes, towards the very end of the class, do you mind me asking you, why are you taking this class? Well, I had a reason, because I heard if you can get through calculus, you can learn anything. So I thought, well, I might as well get through calculus, because who knows what I might be wanting to learn. So, once I finally got pretty much through calculus, then I thought, okay, I can probably pretty much learn anything. So, then it kind of fell by the wayside. So that was, a lot of times I didn't particularly like the person who was teaching the class. Not in his case, it was like from childhood, he was okay. But sometimes it would be, I would learn stuff and it would be pretty good. So it was like, and another thing for me, I'm cheap. At the time, you could go to junior college so cheap, and it was like 16 weeks of entertainment. Okay, and so I was just about done with this video, and 3 stories popped into my mind. And when things pop into my mind, I know it's God. So I'm going to tell you about these. And these were salons. I worked in an assortment of salons, all kinds of them. So, okay, the first one was I was working in Fantastic Sam's. And so the strategy in Fantastic Sam's is you try to get the whole family. That way, you get a clientele quicker, because you get family. And so I got this family, and it was a man, and it was a woman, and it was a baby. So, the baby didn't do me much good. He didn't have any hair. But, and then you're doing their hair. And these were good customers that came in regularly, the man and the woman. And so the woman was an Asian man, and the man was like a little bit younger white guy. And his wife started telling me, she goes, my husband was my neighbor. And so I saw him and he looked kind of hungry, my neighbor. So I said, hey, would you like to come over for a dinner? And so he really was kind of hungry, so he accepted. And I go, well, weren't you kind of scared to let him in your house? And she goes, oh no, I liked him. And he goes, yeah, I was really, really kind of hungry at the time. And so evidently he had fallen on hard times, and this woman this Asian woman, a lot of them are like this. She was very stable and she had saved quite a bit of money. And so together she had kind of lifted him up, and like he turned out to be a really good husband, and they had this little kid. And so, and you know, they would tell me the whole life story while I was doing the hair. And I hadn't thought about that story in years and years and years. So this woman befriended her neighbor because he looked hungry, and then they ended up married. Okay, and now the second one. Okay, here in town, there is it's a junk store slash thrift store. I don't really know these people. I know of these people because I myself deal junk. Although I think my junk is pretty good junk. But probably all the junk people think their junk is good junk. But anyway, so I know of her. I don't actually know her. And so she's an older Asian woman. And she is married to a younger guy. And the guy was like a street person. He fell into hard times. And so she hired him to help her. Okay, if you go on with the junk business, last night I had my stuff out. It's a nightmare. The minimizing from hell. So you get to the point, if you want to move on, you really need help. I don't want to do this because I don't want to pay, and I also don't want to befriend somebody and marry them. So she befriended him, and he was helping her with the junk, and somehow they ended up married. So they both had a better life. She was older, and he was a younger guy, and together they created this pretty good business. Me, I wouldn't pay for a store. The store saves you from having to haul the junk, but you guys know I'm cheap. So this was another case where an older woman, helped this younger guy who had fallen on hard times. And why this popped into my mind, I don't know. That's story number 2. Story number 3. I was working in the Mexican shop this time, and I got the family again. And it was a couple. One was a Mexican girl and the other was an Asian guy. And so she goes, you know how I met my husband? And I go, no, how'd you meet your husband? She goes, well, I was a stripper in TJ. And I go, oh, well, how'd you meet your husband? She goes, well, he kept coming down there. And he said, you know, I really like you. I want to marry you. And she said, no, I don't want to marry you. They probably all wanted to marry her, you know. And he said, no, I have a good business and I really like you. And, you know, I want to marry you. And she just said no. Well, he kept coming down there and he wore her down and they got married and she was able to come up to the U.S. And they had a couple kids and, you know, everything was, you know, good, you know. So, you know, in all of these cases, I was thinking, well, God, I don't know why you popped these into my mind, but in all these cases, unlikely people approach people to assist them or, you know, just to be nice, and it ended up benefiting everyone. It was like a love connection. So, you know, and also like the losing everything, you know, take heart. You know, things may be kind of crappy right now, but you'll come around and things like in my life, when I would think I was ruined, you know, I told my son I would like to move to Hawaii and live in my car. He goes, Mom, the next thing you know, you'd be living just like you are now. And I thought, yeah, that's true. I would stockpile up a bunch of food in my car. If you are living in a car, though, stockpile some food and keep your car full of gas. But he's so right. So that's my 3 stories for you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And God bless you all.